Hi everyone, welcome to the Jun tutorial. So I've made Jun in Tag 2 alongside Asuka, so I have some legs experience with this character. Compared to Tag 2 Jun, she's a lot different as they added a whole heal mechanic behind the character, so she has a lot more tools to play around with. Jun is geared around her strong poking and plus range pressure, suffocating the opponent and frustrating them to make a mistake. She has many stances, but don't be too overwhelmed as a lot of it is just combo fillers. Like the Asuka guide, I won't include combos since it'll just make the video too bloated. There's loads of Jun combo guides available on YouTube to watch, so I'm just going to focus on our game plan. In the description below there's a written guide and a rough summary of the video to read back if you for a written format. If you appreciate the video, please show some support through liking, commenting and subscribe. So let's get into it. So let's talk about Jun's heal mechanic and her life loss mechanic and also her heat system. So while using certain moves, Jun inflicts damage to herself. So moves, for example, upward 1, FC downward 1, forward 1 plus 2, back 3 2, downward plus 2, upward 2, 3 plus 4, downward 2 1 plus 2, forward 2 1 plus 2, Genjitsu 3 2. There's some more moves, so you get the idea. These moves are incredibly strong, but the offside is that Jun deals damage to herself using these moves. She also has some moves that heals herself, so moves such as Izumo transition. So any transition into Izumo heals her. Forward 1 heals her. Izumo 1-1 heals her. Back 1-1 1 plus 2 heals her, and this is a very good pick-and-runnable wall splat string. Sidestep 2. Find that you face up mid as sidestep, that also heals, and on counter hit you get a pretty chunky follow-up on counter hit. So sidestep 2 is pretty good as a mid to use in neutral, and it heals Jun. And of course the Genjitsu heat smash that heals her, and also her heat smash from neutral also heals her as well. Jun is interesting in the sense that you have to make some decision making with the character. Do you want to play Jun more of a glass cannon character? You can go for moves that inflict damage to her, or you can go for moves that heal. So for example, this is her max damage wall ender, right? This does a lot of damage to herself. Or you could go for something like this. These moves heals her. They do less damage, but they do heal her, so you have to make some decision making in combos. Should I go for combos that will do more damage but hurt myself, or should I go for combos that will do less damage but will heal me? So you have to make some decision making. Jun in heat is nothing really special. Of course her moves do more chip damage, just like every other character, right? But she doesn't really gain anything in heat. The moves that harm her do less damage. So upward 1 does less damage, you know, 4-2 1 plus 2 does less damage. So the moves that inflict damage to herself is less. She gains Genjitsu heat smash, and she gains a 13 frame projectile heat smash which heals herself. So her heat system is okay in my opinion, but yeah, that best summarizes it. So let's talk about Jun's main poking tools. So I'm not going to go over all of the moves in her tool sets because there's a lot. I'm going to go over the more important moves. So we'll start with her pokes. Now, jab. Jun's jab is very strong because the range is quite good. But it's not only the range, it's because of all the follow-ups that she has. So she has 1-3, which is a jab into a low. She has 1-1, which is a jab into a mid. And from the mid, she has access to Izumo stance, which I'll talk about more in a wee while. She also has 1-2, which is pretty much a generic 1-2, but she also has a 1-2 sidestep cancel, and then you can do sidestep 4 from this, which I'll talk about its effectiveness in the video down the road. The main thing you're going to want to look out for from this job is mainly the count mix up, so 1-1 into the mid, 1-3 into the low, and also 1-2-2, which goes into the Izumo transition. Now 1-2-2 is strong because you can counter hit confirm this. Now what I mean by counter hit confirm is you do 1-2, see if the animation interrupted something, like visually confirm this, and then you finish the string. And not only is it very chunky from a 10 frame string, you also heal yourself with the Izumo transition. So her job is very, very strong, and a jump game is something very, very crucial to learn. Your main mid pokes are going to be downward 1. Downward 1 because it's her 13 frame mid poke. So everyone has most characters have a 13 frame mid poke to go around with, right? Jun's is good because downward 1-2 is natural combo. Downward 1-1 is natural combo as well. So she has a high extension and she has a mid extension, both of which are natural combo. So not only do you have strong extensions after downward 1, but you also have a high and a mid that you have to keep an eye out for. So you know, they have to duck the high, or they might eat the mid if they duck. So you have that mental frame advantage and the string extension mind game as well. On counter hit, you get guaranteed upward 1 on downward 1-2. So downward 1-2 on counter hit, you get upward 1 guaranteed. Downward 1-1, second on counter hit, you get walls blocked. So this string becomes a lot better at the wall because this will walls blocked and this will walls blocked. So you can make downward 1 a huge pain in the ass to deal with versus Jun if you have them backed into the wall. So yeah, downward 1 absolutely a must to go to mid poke for this character, 100%. Another mid poke you're going to want to use with Jun a lot is her back 2. Back 2 because it's a 14 frame mid that tracks to her weak side, so that's already like pretty good, right? Now back 2 is very, very strong because you have a lot of extensions of it. So for example, you have back 2-2, which is a safe mid poke. So it's natural combo and it's safe and it tracks to her weak side, so it's very, very good. The only thing with back 2-2 is certain characters can parry the second hits, but that's why we have back 2-1. Now back 2-2 is mid, back 2-1 is mid-high. So if you think they're going to duck back 2-1, you're going to do back 2-2 to stop them from ducking, right? Now what happens when we get back 2-1 going? So we've hit this, now what, right? We have a stance transition. So if you hold forward, you can go into Genjitsu, which I'll talk about this more in a while. But you can hold forward to go into Genjitsu and you get like a pretty good 50-50 if they respect this. Now, how do we make them respect this transition? Well, we have follow-ups afterwards. So we have back 2-1-4, which is a safe high. We have back 2-1-2, which is a safe mid. Now, that string ender does cost Jun her life, so be a bit careful with it. And you also have back 2-1-1, which in my opinion is not very good. I think you might as well do back 2-1-2. Now, this string is strong because all of the hits are delayable. So all of the hits are delayable. So this makes this string really annoying to deal with. If you land a second hit on counter hit, the follow-up is guaranteed. For example. So as you can see, the second hit on counter hit is guaranteed into follow-ups. And the mid itself, the last hit of the mid, is a counter launcher. So if they are blocking the first two parts, you can still catch them with the ender for counter launcher. So this string is very loaded and you definitely have to spam it with Jun. Another mid I like is back 4. Back 4 is a 13 frame mid and it's also a knee. So if you're playing against a parry heavy character, so someone like Oscar for example, back 4 is a good way to keep those kind of parries in check because they beat reversals and parries and sabakis and so on. And also if you're on point, you can hit confirm back 4 too. So it's a bit tricky, so don't worry if you mess it up. But this string is hit confirmable, and if you want to press anyway on block, the second hit is a counter launcher. So back 4-2 is another string I like with Jun as a pokey mid string. So now we got them stamp blocking because of her mid pokes. What do we do to actually break them down? So let's talk about Jun's lows. Her main low poke is going to be Denmark 3. Denmark 3 because it's +2, so it gives her some advantage. It does okay damage at 14. The main purpose of Denmark 3 is you're gonna frustrate the opponent, right? It's not a big scary low. They're not gonna hard look this often, so it's just there to frustrate them, right? So Denmark 3 is your way to do that. So you can keep doing it, get a reaction from the opponent. When they finally react to it, that's when you can apply Jun's strong counter hit game. That's when you can apply her strong punishment game. So the whole point of Jun is to frustrate the opponent and make them overextend into her strong counter tools. So Denmark 3 is one way to do that. Another way to do it is her Dan 4. Dan 4, because the range is very good and the tracking is very, very good. So the tracking is very strong in this move, and also the range. And also it has a follow-up. So if you land Dan 4 on counter hit, you get the follow-up guaranteed. Now, just be careful with the high, as it is a high that you can duck and launch, right? So use it sparingly. The cool thing about this is if you make them block Dan 4 and they try to punish Dan 4 by itself, the high extension will counter hit them. It will interrupt their punish. So you can play a bit of mental frame advantage with this string. Another low poke you can use with Jun is her Denmark 4. Denmark 4 is quite slow at 22 frame, so I'd be a bit careful using this move. But the purpose of Denmark 4 is the fact it high crushes. So you can see that she goes very low to the ground. So it does high crush in comparison to Denmark 3 and Den 4. Another low poke you could use, but sparingly in my opinion, is Denmark 2. Denmark 2, because the range is quite good. Now, it is very slow at 23 frame, so be a bit careful with it. The trade-off of using this low compared to the others is the range of it. Now, why would you use one low over the other, right? So Denmark 3 is more for like aggression, more for controlling the pace of the game up close, right? So Denmark 3 is more for that. Dan 4 is more for the tracking and the range, right? So this low is going to be more for like spacing, right? So there's a little bit pushback on hits, so you can use this to like space yourself out, but also to give yourself a bit of a safety net with the follow-up. Remember, if they try to punish the low by itself, they'll eat the follow-up, so it gives you that bit of insurance. Denmark 4 purely because of the high crushing, like no other reason really, just purely because of the high crushing. And Denmark 2 just because of the range and the damage. It does a little bit more damage than the others, and it has more range. So it's up to you to decide which low is appropriate for what situations, but in my opinion, these are Jun's main low pokes. Okay, so we got them both up, and you know, they want to step away from all this. So Jun's best homie move, in my opinion, is her Dump for 3. Dump for 3 because it's mid, it has huge range, it's safe on block, and the startup is quite fast. This becomes really spammable at the wall because it turns into a wall splat. So Dump for 3 is an absolute must use for Jun. You can do it at range to keep your opponent out, you can use it at the wall to fish for wall splats. You can use it to shut down their sidestepping straight up, or you can just use it as a chunky mid option. It's pretty multi-purpose. Super strong move for sure, super strong move. Another homie move that you can use with Jun is her 4-4-3. 4-4-3 because the range is good, obviously, because it's a forward motion, so you can drag out the forward to make it go further, right? 4-4-3 has a follow-up with 3+4, which does chip damage. The opponents can step and they can jab in between the follow-ups, so be a bit careful with it. But if you catch them off guard, you can sometimes sneak this in. If the second hit knocks down by itself, you get guaranteed down 1+2 as a follow-up. It doesn't launch, it hits grandish, but you get guaranteed follow-up with it. So this is good for like a ranged, like it has more range than 4-4-3. So if you want something to like close the gap and approach the opponent with, you can do 4-4-3. Another perk of 4-4-3 is that it high crushes. So if your opponent likes to try and do a jab to keep out, you can do 4-4-3 to high crush under, which is another very big bonus of the homie move. Another homie move you can use with Jun is 4-4. Forward 4 is +3 on block, so you can make them block this and go for your pressure afterwards, right? The nice thing about forward 4 is you get guaranteed 13 frame mids on the follow-up, so you can either do back 4-2 or you can do 1+2 and go into heat. So 4-4 is a good way to shut down sidestepping and just to keep frame advantage on. So why would you do Dumper 3 or 4-4 or 4-4-3? So 4-4-3 in my opinion is more for approaching the opponent. 4-4 is more for like pressuring the opponent and also stopping sidesteps at the same time. Dumper 3 is more for just wanting a chunky mid option, and especially at the wall you want to spam this as well for the wall splats and the range as well. So there are some situations you can use one over the other, but they're all very strong home moves with different purposes. So let's talk about Jun's panic moves. Now, Jun is a female Kazama, so she's gonna have amazing panic tools, right? Just like Asuka, she has Kankans. Now, Jun's panic tools aren't as strong as Asuka's, but she is definitely a contender for having the best selection of panic moves in the game. So, Kankans, it's really infamous because it's 14 frame. 14 frame counter launcher. It crushes lows extremely quickly. So if you think your opponent's gonna overextend their pressure, you know, with gaps in them, or if you think they're gonna go for a low, you can do Kankans to crush the low and get a big full combo. So it's gonna make the opponents second guess their offense and make them scared to go for low, make them scared to go for slower pressure. So Kankan's really strong with Jun, and also it pushes back on hit as well, so it kind of resets back to neutral. So that's definitely where Jun wants to be, right? Now, Jun also has her reversals, not as good as Asuka's because Asuka can hold hers and she gets free follow-ups. Jun doesn't get free follow-ups and she can hold hers, but she gets good Oki, nothing guaranteed, but the Oki is good. So if you think your opponent's gonna like pursue their plus frames, you can do reversal sometimes to, you know, keep them honest, keep them second guessing their offense, right? Jun, just like Asuka, has a punch Sabaki. If you read that the opponent's gonna go for a jab, if you read that your opponent's gonna go for a down forward one, you know, any mid or high punch essentially, Jun actually gets a full combo off it. So you actually get a full conversion with Jun if you have the right read. This is strong because if your opponent simply wants to go for a jab, for example, and you read them correctly with the punch Sabaki, you get a full combo, and that's a really, really big deal. It's also zero on block, so you're neutral on block. You know, if they block it, you still have momentum, you can still play the game. If you land the Sabaki without triggering the parry, so they didn't punch into it, just got hit by it, for example, you can still combo off it anyway. So punch Sabaki, if you think they're going to do a punch, do it. You get mass rewards of such a small opening. She has another Sabaki with forward 1+2. Forward 1+2 is weird because it doesn't do any damage. However, it's 12 frames, so it's very fast, and the window on it, I believe, is active from frame 5. So if they punch into this, you get guaranteed Miare 2. If it lands on counter hit, you also get guaranteed Miare 2. In heat, this move is a lot better because it does a lot. It's a lot more active, and you get guaranteed Miare 2 in heat. So Miare 2, guaranteed launcher in heat. So this move becomes a lot better in heat because it turns into a launcher essentially. So yeah, forward 1+2, definitely very strong. You guys might know a Jun player called Kira. Kira uses this move a lot, and the whiff recovery is extremely quick. So it's actually very difficult to whip punish. So you can almost treat it like a magic 4, like a standing 4. Speaking of magic 4, Jun has a good one. So standing 4 is 12 frame on counter hit and knocks down, gives you guaranteed 3+4. So this is good as a, you know, keep a tool up close. It's good as a frame trap option. For example, you could do forward 4 on block. Remember we talked about this move? Forward 4 on block is +3. You can do standing 4 afterwards if they mash. You can do forward 3, 3+4 into standing 4 if they pressed into it, right? So you can use this as a counter tool. You know, you get guaranteed 3+4. Which is really chunky. Now just be careful because that does damage to itself, but the follow-up is very chunky, so I think it's worth it. So yeah, if you think your opponent's going to overextend under pressure or approach you up close badly, you can use this to be like, hey, you can't just do that. So let's talk about some other moves that don't really have like a category. Side-step 4. Side-step 4 is a heat engager with Jun. It's a mid, it's +6 on block. So this is going to be the cornerstone of Jun's like main plus frame pressure, right? So you can do side-step 4, be +6, harass the opponent with your poking afterwards, so down forward 1, back 2, then back 3. Or you can loop side-step 4 to make them want to challenge and do something about it. Side-step 4 on block, you can do, for example, Kankans afterwards. If they mash here, or go for power crush, or go for heat burst, for example, you can do down 2+4 to counter hit them. Remember, Kankans is a counter launcher, so remember this. So side-step 4, you can really bully the opponents with this. So side-step 4, back 2 strings, side-step 4. go for your low pokes, size up 4, you know, down port 1. You know, you can do whatever you want really with it. You can frame trap, you can pressure from it. So slice f4 is going to be very crucial to make the opponents play into Jun's like annoying poking game. Now, another move that you want to use with Jun is her 4-4-1+2. 4-4-1+2 is one of Jun's few chipping moves. So she doesn't have a lot, but 4-4-1+2 is one of them. Now, it does damage to herself, so be a bit cautious with this move. In heat, I think this move is a lot better because it does a lot more chip damage. You can see the opponent's health bar is depleting very fast on block, so you can either loop this or frame trap them. So if they decide to challenge you, remember you can go for can-cans. When they respect you, you can keep doing it, or you can start your poke game, or you can do your homie moves to stop them from stepping you, for example, as your homie moves are very strong, right? So 4-4-1+2, similar to Slice F4, it's just chips, and in heat, it's very valuable. So it's just another move that Jun can use for plus frames. Another move you can use with Jun is Demo+2. Demo+2 is a high crushing normal hit launcher. Now, it does a lot of damage to Jun, so use it sparingly, right? Because if you don't connect it on the opponent, you're actually doing a lot of damage to yourself. Yeah, so high crushes, it has a lot of reach. It's a very damaging mid launcher. So yeah, you can throw this at neutral, really. Another move you can use in neutral is her 4-2. 4-2 is her main whip punisher. So if you see your opponent whip something, ideally you want to do 4-2. You can cancel 4-2 with hold down to go into crouching, and I'll talk about Jun's crouching game shortly. But yeah, 4-2 is going to be like your main whip punisher. You can also use some other whip punishers, such as them back 1+2 string as a whip punisher, and it heals you. You can also do 2-1-4 as a quick whip punisher. You can also do back 4-2 as another whip punisher option. So these are going to be your main whip punishers. You can also do upward 1 as a whip punisher as well. Another move you can do with Jun is her down 4-2 1+2. Down 4-2 1+2, it does a lot of damage to herself, so don't go too ham with this move. It's safe, it tracks, and it's a very big launcher. So it tracks, it's a safe mid launcher. Just be careful doing it too much because it does deplete a lot of life. So Jun has some crouching moves and wall standing moves. The big one is wall standing 1+2. Wall standing 1+2 because, first of all, it's a counter launcher. It has huge range. It's only -2 on block. So it's only -2 on block with pushback, so you can still back off and first for whip punish. So the whole meta of wall standing 1+2, same as Asuka's, is that you can cancel it. So you're gonna make your opponent respect you because of the counter hit, right? So they're gonna be scared to try and interrupt you because of this counter hit, right? So when you have them scared at neutral to do something about this, you can cancel it and go into her FC. Let's talk about what we can do while she's in crouching. One of her main low pokes, I didn't talk about it earlier because I won't talk about it in this section, is going to be FC down for 2. So FC down for 2 is her main low poke from crouching. Why it's good? Because the range is decent, the damage is okay, the speed is okay, it's 0 on hit. But the main thing about this move is it gives you a launcher on counter hit. So the damage is scaled a lot, but you do get very easy mode launcher with wall standing 3 afterwards. So you're going to annoy the opponent and you're going to harass them with this. What happens when they want to duck it? Well, if they want to duck it, we have wall standing 2. Wall standing 2 is a mid poke from crouching, 13 frame. It has a follow-up with wall standing 2-1, which is her 13 frame punish. On counter hit, you get a guaranteed launcher. So on counter hit is actually a guaranteed launcher if you do Demo +2. So wall standing 2 is going to be your main mid poke from crouching. FC Dumper 2 is going to be your main low poke from crouching. And you can access crouching by doing wall standing 1+2 cancel to get in their face and initiate the pressure. If you want something a bit more risky but more rewards, you can do FC Dumper 3. FC Dumper 3 because you get free Demo +2 follow-up, or you can do 4-2 if you don't want to hurt yourself too much. So if you want to like make big of a comeback with this character, you can do FC Dumper 3, and it's kind of like a health sweep, right? You get a low knockdown. Another mids you can use to mix up with these lows, so this and this. Another mids you can use to mix up is FC up 3+4. FC up 3+4 gives you guaranteed Demo +2 afterwards. So it's a very chunky mid, or you can do 4-2 if you don't want to hurt yourself. So it's just a chunky mid option. So what I like to do is this. If they hard up here, I go for this, and then I get the mid, right? So that's another option that you have. So that's from crouching up 3+4. From crouching, Jun also has falling rain, which is a 1+2 grab. You can do damn back 1+2 for falling rain. That's the name of the throw. So it's 1+2 break, but from crouch you can also do down forward 2+3, which is a 2 grab. So they have to break 2 to break this. So a big common strategy is they've canceled this into falling rain. That's a common flowchart with Jun players. So you can cancel this into down forward 2+3 as well. If you think they're only breaking 1+2, you can go for the 2 grab as well. So yeah, that's Jun's crouching game in a nutshell. So the first of Jun's stances is her Miare stance. This is new in Tekken 8. It's not very useful outside of combos. For example, the wall combo is hop kick into Miare 2. So that's one use of the Miare stance. Miare 2 is a heat engager. Remember we talked about forward 1+2, so forward 1+2 gives guaranteed Miare 2, which is a heat engager, right? So that's one use of Miare 2. Miare 1 is a normal hit launcher that's safe on block, but I feel like you might as well do down 1+2. So Miare 1 is also just for combos. It also tornadoes in combos. So again, it's just like combo filler, right? So Miare 1 is more for combos. Miare 2 is also more for combos and confirming off the punch Sabaki. You can also do Miare hold forwards to go into Genjitsu, which I'll talk about now. You can also side step cancel out of Miare. And if you hold the Miare, she actually heals herself. So something you could do is upward 1 punish, go into Miare to heal herself, and then cancel out of it just to heal yourself a little bit, right? Yeah, it's not really useful in neutral. It's more of a combo filler. So that's what I would do. That's what I would use Miare for. So the next stance is Jun's Genjitsu stance. Genjitsu stance is more of her main mix-up tool, like main mix-up stance, right? Let's talk about what she has in there. So it has more practical uses in neutral than Miare stance. So you do forward 3+4 to enter Genjitsu manually, or you can do back 2-1 hold forward to go into Genjitsu. Remember we talked about the back 2 string. Genjitsu stance, what do we do with this? So your main low is Genjitsu 1. Genjitsu 1 is a very chunky low that knocks down on counter hit. It's only -12 on block, so it's pretty safe for what it does. So this is going to be your main low poke. Out of the stance. Well, Jun has heat. You have an enhanced version of it. So if you do Genjitsu heat smash inputs, you get this, and so it heals Jun as well, so it actually heals her. Now, what do we mix Genjitsu 1 with? We mix it with Genjitsu 3. Genjitsu 3-2. So Genjitsu 3-2 is going to be her main mid out of this. It's safe on block. It does damage to Jun, but it is safe on block. Now, you can hit confirm this. You can see how big the delay is, right? So you can hit confirm it, and ideally you should hit confirm it so you don't like lose damage to yourself. If you think that your opponent is going to freeze up from here, you can actually do this, hold down to go into crouch, and then you have your crouching game that we spoke about before. So you can do this into what 92, you can do this into FC Damper 2, you can do this into Fallen Rain, for example. And when they want to interrupt that pressure, you can let it rip. So you can let it rip on block. Like this, for example. So you can really delay the extension. She also has Genjitsu 2, which is not very useful. It's a power push out of Genjitsu. Before, it used to be her old combo filler. So this used to be her main combo ender. But now what you want to do is the Genjitsu 3 string. So if you delay the follow-up enough, it actually becomes unscaled, and it's also guaranteed. So that is Jun's max damage and your mid-screen. So Genjitsu 3 is going to be very important for Jun. You also have Genjitsu 4, which is not very useful in my opinion. It's just a plus on block, homing high. So it's not very useful in neutral, so I won't bother with it too much. You're mainly going to be looking at Genjitsu 1 and Genjitsu 3-2. Just worry about these two moves, the rest not too much. Another thing with the Genjitsu stance is if your opponent does a low while you do this, while you do the transition, you get automatic low parry out of it, and you get guaranteed 4-2 afterwards. If your opponent tries to throw you, he also has an auto throw parry So also has an auto throw parry, and both of these options heal Jun's as well. So that's Genjitsu stance in a nutshell. So Jun's last stance is her Izumo stance. You can access Izumo stance by doing up to raw, and the transition itself heals Jun, so that's important to note. You can also do 1-1, which goes into Izumo. You can do 1-2-2, which goes into Izumo. You can do forward 1, or you can do forward 3-2. Now, a lot of this stuff is mainly combo filler, but we can talk about it. So, for example, 1-2-2-2 on counters. Remember, counter I confirmed this, goes into Izumo stance guaranteed. Let's talk about the moves that she has into Izumo stance. The first thing is Izumo 1-1. So this is Izumo 1-1. It's a tornado that Jun has. It heals her as well. So 1-1, it heals Jun. Izumo 1-2 is a mid version of the string. So she has a high and then she has a mid, right? This is good because if you do forward 1 on counter hit, or if you do 1-1 second hit on counter hit, you actually get 1-2 guaranteed and then forward 2. So Izumo 1-2 is guaranteed of forward 1 counter hit and 1-1 counter hit. Izumo 2 is a mid launcher from Izumo. So if you think your opponent's gonna duck after Izumo transition, you can do 2 to catch them ducking, right? Izumo 3 is a mid high. It jails on block, so they can't duck the second hit. It's also a heat engager of Jun. The Izumo 3 is not very useful, so I won't worry about it too much, but it is a heat engager that Jun has. The main reason they want to duck the stance is because of Izumo 4-1. Izumo 4-1 is a hull sweep out of the stance. So let's say you land 1-2-2 on counter hit, where he lands up to, and they're stuck in the mix-up, right? You can mix them up between the 2, or you can mix them up between the 4-1. It's very risky, so don't do it too often, but it is an option that Jun has. So it was Izumo 4-1 for the mid, and Izumo 2 for the mid launcher, and Izumo 4-1 for the hull sweep option. Other options that you have are Izumo forward 1+2, which is a safe mid. Let's say you land 1-2-2 on counter hit, and you don't want to commit to anything. You don't want to commit to a high, you don't want to commit to an unsafe mix-up. You can do Izumo forward 1+2, which is a safe mid. It gets you out of the stance, and if they try to do anything here, they will lose. So 1-2-2 counter hit, and then forward 1+2. If they mash, power crush, duck, anything, you win. And Izumo forward 1+2 gives guaranteed upward 1 on counter hit as well, which you can easily confirm. So yeah, Izumo transition and the Izumo stance in a nutshell is mainly used for combos, but they do heal Jun. So that heals her, it's mainly combo filler. So as you can see, Jun is a very strong poking, counter hit oriented character that has extremely good punishment and counter tools, so she can be played quite in a very different ways. However, she does struggle opening turtles up, as Denmark 3 is pretty lackluster, so having good patience and awareness for openings is very crucial for Jun. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you learned a lot. Please stay tuned for more guides for the other girls I'll upload to my YouTube. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and all that. Thank you very much.